I am not Juwan Howard, and I'm going to be me, so, you know, a small thing. I've never sat down during a game. So there'll be a chair there, but it will be for him. It will not be for me. And I told the players that yesterday, that I'm not replacing Juwan Howard, and but what we have in place is the way that we're going to play. Look, the guy is a mastermind with ATOs, and it has blown my mind for 3 years. Like, I don't know that he's repeated an ATO in any of these games for 3 years. That's not who I am. So we're going to have a way that we're going to approach our timeouts. We're going to come out timeouts organized. We're going to come out of timeouts with a pattern. I'm going to run the timeout the way that I run it, and but I'm not going to mimic him. And I didn't mimic him yesterday in practice, and will not today.
Phil, was Juwan able to address the team at all yesterday before this all kind of came down? And if so, what was the message?
No, he did not, and he addressed everybody in the program twice late Sunday night via text, and just that was a family text. If
then also logistically, I guess, what changes, you know, between scouts and recruiting, some of those other things? How are you guys divvying up any differently?
No, this is my scout. Rutgers is my scout, and then Illinois, Howard or Sadi. Chris Hunter will move up. Chris Hunter was on the floor yesterday for practice. He dealt with the bigs, and that's terrific. A terrific teacher there. Scouts stay the same. Howard Isley is going to be the offensive coordinator, right? It's he and Juwan that have put together this really effective and massive playbook. So you'll see Howard Isley get up, he'll make a call, and then he'll sit down. We're not engaging with referee. He's not, you know, he's not over-coaching. And I need to make sure that the referees know that. You know, like sometimes they want, oh, it's, you know, all that. Any of these referees that have the time to tell kids to sit down during a basketball game, they're not doing, you know, like they're not paying attention to what's going on. Like, we got these guys, you take those 10 guys. So you'll see Howard making calls, and then even during timeouts, he'll give me the call that we're going to go out on the out of the timeout with.
Will you be able to have any verbal contact with Juwan at all through any of this?
Yes, Juwan's my friend.
Okay, so it's not like you can Zoom, text?
Juwan is my friend. So, yeah. And then I feel tremendously responsible to my friends to make sure that they're doing well.
How's he doing?
Juwan is very remorseful, and today is a little better than yesterday.
Did Juwan address or did he apologize post-game Sunday, and what did he say to the players?
He did not speak to the players on Sunday. There was a very heartfelt text exchange very late in the night on Sunday.
Phil, can you speak to the program's reaction to the punishment?
Well, yeah, I think like not like the individual guys specifically. First of all, Ward Manuel did a fabulous job laying it out for the players and for the staff. And I think that all of us would, Andrew would say the same thing. Escalations like that have no place in the game. Okay? And everybody involved, everybody, not the 3 people suspended or not just our players. Everybody involved has now learned a hard lesson. And, you know, we are all collectively remorseful for missed opportunities. I'll raise my hand. Juwan went one way in the shakeout, and I didn't think to go with him. Chris Hunter feels the same. Everybody learned a hard lesson. And you know what? Time to play basketball.
Phil, you've experienced a lot in basketball. Have you ever been part of a situation like this, and what experiences do you draw on to navigate this time?
That's a really interesting question because I was racking my brain to what would this be comparable to, and I really don't have one. Actually, this morning when I was daydreaming, I was like, well, is this like USA basketball where you're gathering these guys for a short period of time? Now, obviously, I've been engaged with these guys for 3 years, but it's a short period of time. And what is it that you want for them to value? And that was the only, but there is nothing that I came with, and I was like, well, you know, maybe I should call, you know, pick a guy. Do I call the guy at Louisville, Mike Pegues, who's a friend of mine? But come on, I know this. I know this wholeheartedly, without like poking my chest out. I can run a practice, and I can manage a game, right? And some would say that I can do this. I can talk. It might not always make sense, but I can talk. Think that forward together. That's what this has to be. Forward together, and I'm a part of it. I'm no more or less a part of it than Howard Isley or Sadie Washington or Eli. We're doing this together, moving forward.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said everyone learned a lesson. Was there a teaching moment where you sat the team down and said, you know, this can't happen, this is why? Was it a lesson learned with the players?
Ward Manuel. Ward Manuel. He gave a like, I'm not that savvy with all the stuff that's going on in you know, the way they teach, but he gave a master class in what was learned. So he deserves the credit. Ward Manuel.
Could you elaborate a little bit on what he said?
Yeah, that situations like that in all walks of life, there are moments when when that happens, you can go one way or you can go the other. And everybody went in the wrong direction on this one. So, you know, whatever needs to happen when this happens, let's each grow from it.
That makes sense?
Sorry I'm late. Clayton, go ahead. As far as basketball with the 2 guys out, I guess, what do you expect out of Brandon, Jace, Jaron, you know, some of the front court on tomorrow night?
I expect them to be the very best they can be. So I don't think like it's similar. I'm in a similar role to them, right? Like, I'm not Juwan Howard, right? I am not. Right? And Brandon Johns is not Musa. So be the best Brandon Johns, right? And be able to walk out of here tomorrow night and say that was as good as I could give. And guess what? Take Thursday off and come back Friday and be better than you were on Wednesday. But you can't come up with a game plan and say, well, Musa averages 8.1. How are we going to get 8.1? No, that's not going to work. But if Brandon Johns walks in here tomorrow night with his head up, his mind clear, and heart knowing that we need the best Brandon Johns in order to beat Rutgers, then that'll be good enough. And that's the message to all of the guys, to every guy. And, you know, a little inside baseball. What Terrence Williams and Musa Diabate are doing is they're being the best them. And how are they doing that? Those two kids who are rotation players are playing scout team, yesterday's practice and today's practice. And they did it with joy in their heart. That was uplifting to see yesterday.
You mentioned that you wanted the players to be able to take something of value from these 5 games. What is that? What would you like them to take away?
Well, I've always been big on and I don't mean this in a smart way, a smart aleck way in any. We have on a schedule 5 days. 5 games. We have 1 day. So at the end of today, when we finish practice at 6 o'clock, I want them to know that they got better and that we got better. And then tomorrow to repeat it. Get better. So daily improvement. You've all heard Juwan talk about the 1%. That's what this is about. This isn't about, well, this is going to be a really successful enterprise if we go 5-0. But it's going to be a disaster if we go 1-4. No? How would I know? Like, what I want to do today is everybody, every coach, every support staff person, every manager, every player to walk out of here and say, you know what, I got better. And if we do that, good things will happen.
Andrew?
I mean, you guys are, competing for an NCAA tournament spot. Like, does that factor in at all to how you're kind of approaching this, or weigh on you at all?
It doesn't weigh on me, and it's not something that you hear the play. Look, the players have to be aware of it, but the only thing that we can control is this idea of improvement, right? We have to play better. We have to play better against Rutgers than we did at the RAC. We have to play better against Rutgers than we did at Wisconsin. We have to be better in practice today than we were yesterday. Everything else will, those are rewards. These are our responsibility is today.
Well, situations like these can go a variety of ways, and you never really know. Do you view it as an opportunity almost to be galvanized to a certain degree with together as a team?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say it this way. The only way we can move forward is together, right? If we move forward and this guy makes a left and I make a right, well, then we didn't move forward. Maybe these 3 people move forward. So to me, here's the power, right? Like in this hand, if I have an open hand, there's not a lot of power that can be generated. But here, power can be generated. So let's move powerfully forward. Not just, well, let's get Tuesday out of the way. So I don't know about galvanizing, but I do know this, that it's clear to all of us, to everybody involved, that we're only doing this together. And to be honest with you, if we fail, we fail together.
Go back over to Andrew.
Sunday's post-game has kind of ignited a national debate on the handshake line. I was wondering if, I'd be interested in hearing if you have a thought on it, whether they're still useful or get rid of them, alter them.
Do not get rid of them. We cannot give in. We cannot give in. Come on. It's a healthy competition. And in healthy competition, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So there's salesmen all over Michigan. They're going to go into a company today. They're either going to get the sale or they're not going to get the sale. But I'm not going to shake hands and say thank you for this opportunity. So, look, this is about more than basketball. It's about teaching young people lessons. And not just the young people that are playing the game, right? All the young people that watched, all the young people that support these teams, right? Man up, right?
The three-point shooting, obviously, the last few games hasn't been there. The open looks, certainly. Is there a rhyme or reason to it for you? Have you been around a team that maybe was this erratic? Because we've certainly seen some games where they were falling.
I don't really know the rhyme or the reason. It's just amazing, and some of these student managers are fascinating to me. I'm sure it was the other night, two of the kids were having a conversation at another table, and they turned around to me and said, "Coach, do you know that we've never won a game where we shot higher than 25% or less than 41%? My first reaction was, you need a hobby. Like, you need to do something that's different than this. And then but then when I was at shoot-around that night, Steve Lapis, who's a really good friend and was doing the game for CBS, he said the same thing. And I said, I don't have a reason. I mean, it's not, we take a lot of shots. We practice a lot of shots. We take game shots. No team that I've been involved with here has guys that come in and get more shots. A game shot is different than shooting one in the PDC at 8 in the morning. And I just want our guys to shoot it and concentrate on the next shot. Not worry about the last shot, not worry about the statistics, and think that the ball's going in.
Are the young guys able to do that yet, do you think?
No. But they're growing. They're all growing, and hopefully tomorrow night hopefully it starts today.
Phil, just to clarify, you mentioned Ward Manuel addressed the team. Was that a practice yesterday or a meeting? What were the circumstances?
Yes. He spoke to the team, and the beauty was, up until 3:15 yesterday, everybody was working on their own set of facts. Right? So Ward Manuel came and gave the players the facts, right, about Coach. He had not, to be clear, he had not, Terrence and Musa, that decision was not made until the Big Ten accepted it later in the evening. But he told them that it was probable that they would not play, and he was very blunt with everybody that that's not going to be repeated, right? That is just not going to be repeated, and it was not acceptable.
all year, but even more so in the wake of all of this. How does that kind of affect the mental aspect, and what are you telling the guys?
I'm sorry, the noise,
Yep.
like the hype and,
Yeah, well, with the recruiting class coming in.
Right.
and
we have been consistent with what other people say about you, you know, whether you're the #1 recruiting class, whether this guy's a one and done, whether that guy's an All-American. That's what other people say. But what's the court? What are we doing on the court? And with regard to how the players approach going forward, everything that this team wants to accomplish and has stated as a team goal is still there. And even tomorrow night is not a must-win, because in games that are must-win, then does that become a must-lose? Are they collecting new uniforms on Thursday? Have they not told me that one? So and I don't mean this in a mean-spirited way, but the external noise takes practice to block it out and to do what we set out to do. And I go back to that idea. 1% better today.
Just going back to the meeting with Ward, that bluntness that you just referred to, what impact can that have? Having that tone set so early in all of this, what impact can that have as you all move forward?
What it was it was a master class in leadership. It was a master class in leadership. And now take in all the external factors, right? There's a Michigan grad, a Michigan parent, right? A Michigan administrator, an African-American man, student athlete, okay? So if the players, which they do, have blood that's flowing through their veins, they got it. It was a master class in leadership. And if you want to, if we want to be like, we want to get a script underneath a TV, I don't even know what they call those things, the scroll underneath, like crisis No. It was leadership to the fullest extent. And I applaud him for it.
James?
Phil, you mentioned that you can still be in contact with Juwan during the suspension. I guess, is there anything he's allowed to do to help the team during the suspension? Is he allowed to offer game input at all?
Juwan is permitted to have contact with players. He's permitted to have contact with coaches, staff. He will and has expressed his love for everybody, and everybody in the program has expressed their love for him.
Working on something on Will Cheddar. Wondering what you've seen out of his development this season, kind of being that behind the scenes, but also, making sure he grows for the future.
Well, during his recruiting, I have said, if he can play, this is the stuff of movies, right? Like football quarterback, decides to do the discus, wins the state championship, 3.99999, China for 3rd and 4th grade or 4th and 5th grade. And his I may not be a word, spongeness, his taking this all in and being able to take a step back and watch him be coached by Juwan Howard. And this kid has joy in his heart because of that. It's rare. It's rare for any person to be able to say, man, I don't have all the answers. We all have all the answers, right? We don't know all the questions, but we know all the answers. And this kid came in wide-eyed, hasn't changed, and has just served an extraordinary role on the team in that, and I'm trying to rack my brain now to make sure, like yesterday's practice, today's practice, he's Ron Harper. Pretty high praise. Now, on a personal note, there are guys that I want him to be like. You know, like, could he be Kyle Young from Ohio State? Could he be a versatile power forward? And there has clearly been growth in his game. And guys that serve on this scout team get an awful lot of basketball information, different styles and things like that. So I think we're in for, you know, casting a movie here by the time he's done.
You said right off the bat you're not Juwan Howard, so how will you be different in these practices, in these 5 games? How do you see yourself different than him?
And I'm not being self-deprecating, but I don't have the offensive mind that he has. I don't have that in my DNA, in my coaching DNA. I don't have a library of ATO plays like he has. I love practice. I think practice is really the coach's time. Practice is the coach's time, right? It's like a classroom. So the professor's time is when they deliver the lectures and prepare the plan, right? And then when the students take the test, there's no professor that makes them about them. So the great coaches make the games about the players, not about themselves. That's what he does. That's what I do. And the love that he has for his players is just extraordinary. I can't be, I love them, but I'm not as, he's a big presence. So, and I'm going to tell you, like, I tossed and turned on Sunday night. And finally, I woke up Monday morning. It was really very clear to me. They didn't ask me to be Juwan Howard. They asked me to be me. And you know what? I'm confident in that.
Phil, you've been a coach for a long time, and I'm sure you've seen all sorts of different game management at the end of a game that's been decided. What was your reaction to the pressure defense from you guys and the timeout from Wisconsin, and did you see anything inappropriate there?
I did not. I did not. I think that it was ebb and flow, right? I do think that that's a really, really, really sensitive situation, right? Because who subs first, right? Well, why? Who's on the floor? So I think that again, it's not what happened has happened, and no one walked out without learning hard lessons.